Welcome back to a brand new Euphoria review here at Max House, where we talk about episode 6 of 8 of season 2 on both HBO and HBO Max. My name is Max Stenberg. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you like movies, TV shows, and box office breakdowns, so please subscribe, ring the bell if you like any one of those things. Every single Monday since the show started, I've breaking down Euphoria, and I will be for the next two Mondays as well. So please consider subscribing, ring that bell, so you're notified when these Euphoria episode drops. Also comment down below me, your thoughts on this episode. What was your favorite part of the episode? What are your bold predictions for the final 2 weeks of the season? And like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. We're going to go full spoilers. If you're new to the channel and you want to hear some of my other reviews on from Euphoria, I've already broken down the whole season and the 2 special episodes since this channel has started. So I'll leave a link at the end for the playlist of the 2021 TV show reviews. We'll see all my other episodes. Let's talk episode 6. So this is a very unique episode of Euphoria to me, for something that not a lot of people are talking about. And the reason is that for the most part of this episode, a lot of the character, really the whole episode, there's not one big event that brings all of our characters together. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, obviously the last week was a very focused Rue episode, and the 2 weeks prior was 3 storylines, but they were cut so well together that you felt like they were in the same situation. They would interact with each other. And while yes, characters did interact with each other, this is a very not self-centered, I would say not self-centered, obviously, but it's a very, everyone's doing their own thing without relating to each other for the most part in this episode. Rue is at her house the whole episode. Lexi is either, there's all these characters that are maybe in 1 or 2 different situations in the episode, which I thought was really smart. There wasn't a fair that made all the characters forcefully interact with each other. There wasn't school. There wasn't a party. Everyone was just living their lives, which I thought was a unique way to tell this episode. So we start with the episode. We're just going to go through characters. This is the easier way to do it. Which will make some other ones interact. So Rue is the, again, central character. Back from, we saw at the end of last week that she does come home after that spectacular episode 5. And she's just a mess. Snot's coming out of her nose and she's trying to open this Jolly Rancher. And she's a mess and she just needs to apologize to Ali. She keeps telling herself, not Jules, not Elliot, not family, Ali, because Ali's kind of the one person who sees her who she is. And it really gives her a sense of what could be, because Ali, yes, isn't in the greatest situation, but he's not an addict and it's living his life on his own terms. And that's what kind of Rue wants to do. And she kind of sees Ali as possibly a future for her, just thinking of what the other side of what this addiction is. And she crossed the line a couple weeks ago where she said, bring up the private conversation they had at that diner in the special episode. And you could just feel heartbreak because she just can't lose Ali. And yes, she can't lose her sister. She can't lose her mom, but Ali is really the symbol that things can get better. So she makes this big apology, says, I'm sorry. And, Coleman Domingo, who's so good in the show. So Ali's basically like, I forgive you. And she kind of breaks down because it really lets her know that she can apologize to people. Yes, there's a lot of regrets. She's trying to understand if all the things that she said last week were true or not. And that she just has to be apologizing and get through it. So Ali comes over, they cooks dinner for the family and has this really great scene with Storm Reed, Gia, who is Rue's sister, where he's like, it's okay to be, it's okay to be mad. To be let down the amount of times that she lets you down, it's only authentic basically for you to feel this way. Sets up for a big, dinner scene where Ali's like, she keeps letting us down. We have to keep giving her the support because she needs to get through it. And he was basically like, there's like a 5% chance or whatever to get out of rehab. And Rue was kind of joking, like, that's going to be me, and I thought it was a really good part of the episode because Rue and Ali is such an essential relationship that they really made clear in that part 1 special episode during the pandemic last year. And Ali's been a main focus for Rue just because it's a symbol of what she wants in her life, just not to be an addict, to live her life on her own terms. She is the narrator for the first half of the episode. She kind of goes to each of the characters, Nate, Cassie, and Maddie, and Lexi. But when Jules comes on, she says, we're not going to talk about Jules, Jules and Elliot. So she clearly still feels the same way about them. We'll see if that changes in the last 2 episodes. Let's move over to, let's do Nate, because that will really bring everyone in. So we begin the episode. Nate is happy, as the episode description of it is that Nate feels freedom because Cal, his father, is no longer around. And he's basically told himself that the reason why he's a bad person, the reason why he's a very angry person, and what he's done to so many people is all because of his anger, specifically towards his dad. So he has this conversation, long conversation with his mom, which basically takes place like the first half of the episode, back and forth. They're kind of getting drunk, but they kind of laid it down, and that's that. She basically tells him like Cal is a flawed person, but we made an even deeply flawed kid. And giving the example that when Nate was a kid, he would go up, give her a drink before bed always, and kiss her goodnight. And then 8 or 9, he just stopped doing that. And she basically was like, you can blame Cal all you want, but you're still also not a good person, because she was trying to make it clear that, you can't just blame everything on Cal. And you getting mad at Cal does not explain what you do to other people. And Nate thought that was his excuse, is that Cal's done. I'm done being that type of person. But when she basically opened his eyes and said, you're just that type of person, it was a real eye-opening scene, as Jacob Elordi explains. It's just a real eye-opening scene for him, that he basically put all of his downfalls on his dad and how his dad's gone, and he just expected his mom to comfort him. And she's not. She's like, you're just not a good person, deeply flawed, even more than your dad. So Nate, that basically ticks Nate off. So Nate wants to obviously get the tape back. So that sets up then Maddie's aspect. Maddie's at the house, just taking care of her, babysitting, gets in the pool with her, I guess, the person who hired her, the child's mom. And they have the conversation that she basically explains everything that happened with Cassie and Nate. And the mom was like, happened to be in college, and I was in Cassie's shoes, basically, but I hooked up with my best friend's boyfriend. We never talked again. And then Maddie goes back to her house. I thought it was a bit of an unnecessary scene. It just felt like a forgettable scene that you could have pulled out of the episode, in my opinion. Then that sets up Maddie going back to her house, and Nate is standing with the gun that we saw him get from Cal's drawer. And you think Nate's gonna kill her or kill himself, something, right? He just wants the tape, is basically why he's there. He's not there to apologize about what happened with Cassie. He's happy about basically about the stuff that happened with Cassie, and he wants to get the tape, because Nate, even if he thinks he's a good person or a bad person, Nate always has to be in control in his own mind. And he knows that without that tape, Maddie has all the power, and Maddie is in control of his life. So Nate goes over there, tries to intimidate her. It's a really horrifying, really well-acted scene. Amazing performance from Alexa Demie and Jacob Elordi. Amazing performance. I mean, Nate is insane. He's on the bed on top of her, putting the gun to her. And what's even more terrifying, that he puts the gun faking that he'll kill himself in order for this to happen. And he's using basically Maddie's love for him, using that to get the tape. Maddie freaks out, and Nate gets the tape. And Maddie doesn't move all night long from the spot that she was in. Horrifying scene, not just because he had a gun to her, but because he had a gun to himself, which made it a lot more terrifying, really terrifying situation. And probably, I think, the scariest Nate's been in the show thus far. Which then sends up like Nate's probably nicest scene in the whole episode. Before we get to that, quickly to Kat. Kat tries to break up with Ethan this episode, where Kat tried to act like it's a brain disorder, just doesn't know how to break up. And he's like, you clearly want to break up with me, so let's just break up. They break up at the diner. I do feel like Kat's storyline has been very much sidelined this season, just because there's a lot more heavier topics going on, and her storyline, while very authentic, and I really like the relatability of how do you go through a breakup and when both can feel that, but it just feels so sidelined in this episode, especially this episode. There's a lot of other things going on that are so much deeper. And I love Kat, and especially Ethan. I just think if they were to do a breakup, it's just coming out of nowhere, because they kind of started the season like, oh, Kat is losing interest in Ethan because he's not doing this. And we're not really seeing that. We started the first episode and Kat was already going through mental breakdowns that Ethan's not for her after we ended with on such a high note in their relationship, which I totally get is a real thing. I just want the show to show us why, like physical proof, I guess, why Kat's not happy than just Kat just telling her friends. And then Ethan gets no screen time. And then Ethan, who we looked as a really good person, still is. And I hope we get to see more Ethan in the show and maybe they can reunite at the end of the season. The other part of it is Lexi. Cassie's going through this whole breakdown this whole episode, yelling at her mom and sister. Then Lexi's like, oh, that's why you ratted out Fez is because you're sleeping with Nate. She's like, it's sad that you're sleeping with someone who's been making fun of you for years, all these different things. And we go to a really, really amazing stuff with Lexi at Fez's house, where they are talking about the play. And then they watch Stand By Me together and they're crying and laughing. And it's a really genuine, Angus Cloud and Maud Apatow have amazing chemistry. It's a relationship that I don't think any of us thought would happen. Obviously it started in the first episode. Then I think it was the third episode where Lexi was like nervous at the store when Cal came in. But first of all, going to Fez's house is a big deal. Then when they're singing, Fez grabbing her hand and all that different, it was a really nice, beautiful stuff that sets up him really protecting, really them being there for each other at the end. Sets up the guy from like the first episode told Faye like outside that I'm kind of working with the police to kind of make sure who killed Mouse. So we'll see if it seems like Fez might not be able to make Lexi's play next episode. He's getting flowers for her. So that's really exciting stuff. I love the Lexi and Fez stuff. And Lexi for me, who I would be in the show. But as I said, that ends with the first only Jules stuff in the episode that Nate goes to Jules's house. He has the tape. And I guess this is like the nicest Nate moment of the whole, his whole character, is that Nate goes to Jules' house, is like, I'm outside. And Jules like, I can't talk to you. I just don't hate you. Jules goes to Nate's car, and Nate just gives her the disc and says, do what you want with it. On there's the tape of you and my dad having sex, and you can do whatever you want with it. He just wanted Maddie not to be the person who has power over him. He needs just that to be forgotten about. He knows that, of course, why would Jules let that out? So he gives it to Jules, and Jules is like, shocking, like, first of all, Nate apologized, like, you have to hear my apology. Apologizes, then gives her the tape, explains why. Jules is like, actually, like, thank you. And Jules is like, are you like a good person now? And Nate's like, I'm not, you should see what I've just did to get this tape. So I'm not a good person. So Nate kind of understands that. But Jules takes the tape, watches the video. That's the last time we saw Jules. No Elliot this episode. And the big ending of the episode is that Nate goes, tells Cassie right after Jules's house, goes to pick up Cassie. Cassie's really happy. They go back to Nate's room, and Cassie's really mad with him because Cassie's like, I've been waiting my whole life for you, and you're just she kind of takes all her anger on him, and then he just kisses her, and they're hugging. And it seems like this will be a thing now going forward, is Nate and Cassie being a couple. Already promo shots of them in school together as a couple. Really interested to see. Maddie was like, I'm going to murder Cassie. I have ideas for Nate, but now, Nate gets the power over her, I guess. We'll see if Maddie can overcome this. But I really like this episode. I know a lot of people saying this is one of the weaker episodes of the season. I loved the episode. I thought it really nailed, first of all, the Rue-Ollie relationship really came through strong. Nice Lexi and really beautiful Lexi and Fez scenes. I know the cat stuff for me is just very forgettable because there's so much heavier stuff going on with bigger implications than her and Ethan. So I was a bit disappointed with cat stuff. I think the pool scene is a very unnecessary to me with Maddie and the mom, really unnecessary in my opinion. But you got a lot of great stuff with Nate feeling like he was free, but being told he's still a bad person, and Cassie and all this stuff. So I did love the episode. I can't wait for the last 2 weeks. My favorite show on TV. So sorry we went long here. A lot of different storylines, a lot to break down. So please, thanks for watching this video. Like the video, subscribe, and bell. I'll be back the next 2 Mondays, giving you my episode 7 and 8 spoiler reviews of season 2 of Euphoria. And then also today, my box office breakdown show will come out later today. So please subscribe, ring the bell. I'll see you guys soon.